Welcome back, everybody, to Philadelphia, my favorite city in the entire United States. The city where I actually started this business just short of 3 years ago. But today we're furnishing 8 new apartments in an amazing location in Center City, Philadelphia. One of the best locations for short-term rentals and Airbnb by far throughout the entire city. Now, before I dive into the unit economics and tell you guys exactly how much I'm gonna be making, how much I spent on furniture, and all the details you guys love to see, I'm gonna take you guys back and actually explain to you exactly how I got from 0 apartments 3 years ago, starting in Philly, to now, 3 years later, I'm back in Philly with 350 apartments under my belt, and show you exactly what it took, all the things that had to happen for everything to lead up to this point. If we go back, all the way back to about September of 2020, that was, I think, the first time I really discovered what Airbnb arbitrage was. There were a lot of YouTubers talking about it, but no one was actually scaling a real business that I saw the potential they could actually make. And at that point in time, I was still working my 9-to-5 job, and man, like I'm telling you guys, I was slaving away. I was working 60, 70 hours a week at the Philadelphia airport, working as an engineer, and I was only getting paid for 40 hours a week because I was a salaried employee. And that was the biggest scam of all time. We'll get into that later. But I was working nonstop, and like, man, I'm tired of this shit. Like, this is crazy. Like, how can I keep working like this? You know, and like, it was obviously, you know, during COVID at that time, there was nothing really to do. And that's the point in my life where like, I can't see myself doing this for another 40 years. I have to figure out what to do entrepreneurially. I had that one rental property I owned back in Canada. It was maybe cash flowing $1,500 a month. But even then it's like, that's not freedom, right? That's not really enough to get me where I want to go. It's not enough to escape the shackles that I had on me at that point in my time. And then I discovered Airbnb Arbitrage, and I decided, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna give this business model a chance and I'll try it out. And during that first week that I learned everything I could on YouTube, all the free stuff, I started calling landlords on my shift at work while I had nothing else to do. And as I was calling, I finally landed at one landlord back in Philadelphia in Queens Village, who let me rent his house out for about 4 months just until he moved into it. And I remember I was so nervous. My pitch back then was so bad. I went into his house, I had the iPad with me, I had a PowerPoint presentation I made. And at the end of it, he's like, you know what? You seem like you know what you're doing. You're a smart guy. Do whatever you want. I need the house back in 4 months. And I was really happy with that because for me, it was a proof of concept to see if the business is actually sustainable and is viable and is profitable. So, as you guys know the whole story, and I told my wife, and actually at this point, I'm like, you know what? Let's start this business. Let's figure it out. And if things work out, great. Why not? Worst case scenario, you know, I'm on the hook for the lease for 4 months. I can manage. So my wife and I went to work. We furnished that house. Only had to furnish one room. The rest of the house was furnished. A really old house, really dingy house. The rent was like $2,200 a month after all the utilities. That first entire month, we put it on Airbnb. We were doing all the cleaning ourselves, washing the linens, laundry, making the bed, cleaning bathrooms, doing everything ourselves while I was working 9-to-5. And it's just pretty much just the both of us. And we had a really fun time doing it. That first month, we made like $4,200 in revenue. We profited almost $2 grand. And I told myself, I'm like, you know what? I'm profiting the exact same, actually more. I'm profiting more that entire house that I owned back in Canada. I didn't have to buy the house, no mortgage, no interest, no nothing involved. All I have to do is pay a first month's rent, security deposit, and that's it. And I'm making cash flowing $2,000 a month. I told my wife, I'm like, I think this is a business model that I want to pursue. And I want you to basically, you know, come along this journey, help me along the way. I'm definitely gonna need your help. Actually, up until December, from October, November, December, that was probably the biggest grind, the biggest learning curve I've ever had to have in my entire life. For my wife and I, honestly, nonstop, every single day, we're working 10 hours a day, furnishing apartments, going to Costco, cleaning apartments, doing everything ourselves, just so we can save costs, keep all the cleaning fees for ourselves, and build that business and build our reserves and keep all the cash we had from my job to get more units. I remember on Walnut Street, we had an apartment. We had to carry a sofa up 4 flights of stairs. There was no elevator, it's a brownstone. 4 flights of stairs to carry the sofa. My wife's 120 pounds, you know, she can't really carry much, but I still needed somebody on the opposite side. I would push from the bottom, she'd pull from the top. At that point, it's blistering cold. It's hailing, it's snowing. We're on the road trying to enter the apartment building, lifting the sofa up. It's slipping from my hands. As that's happening, it's freezing cold. We see PPA Parking Authority give us a $120 ticket for parking our car wrong. All this is happening at once. My wife drops the sofa on me. I fall down and he starts crying because of how intense it was emotionally for us at that moment. Like, what are we doing? What's going on? And I told her at that point, I'm like, listen, this is a breaking point. Either we get shit done or we don't and we lose money and, you know, just delay the inevitable. So I told her, I'm like, I don't need you to help me. I can do it myself. But if you want to help me, I'd appreciate it. And she understood what that meant. We got back to it, grinded, and lifted that sofa all the way back up those 4 flights of stairs. At that point in time, I knew I married the right person because any girl at that point would be like, I'm not doing this. It's not my job. I'm out of here. And she stuck with me from that very moment. I knew I married the right person. Then at that point, my job was like, all right, Hamza, it's time to move back to Detroit. And that was the first time where I really tested the automation of my business and the team that I had in place in those cities. I moved back to Detroit, moved back to Windsor, Ontario, really. Living in my parents' basement, my wife and I, we had about 18 units at that. May was the first time I did $50,000 that month. I remember I took a vacation for the first time to Miami, went to Miami for a weekend, and that was the first month in May of 2021 where I made 50 grand. On that 50 grand, I took home about $20,000 in profit. And I'm like, you know what, this is crazy. If I can make that much money off this amount of units with doing literally no work, like, you know, life's golden. And I told myself, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna dedicate the next couple of years of my life now to building this business out to as best I can build it. Because I saw the money, the cash flow was there, the profit was there. I understood at that point in time, there's teams that needed. And you know, you make mistakes as you go on. I made a lot of mistakes over the last 2 or 3 years. And I learned from them all, right? To make sure I don't make the same mistake again. There's been so many times where I signed deals where, you know, the apartments turned out to be just slumlord apartments, had to break the lease 2 months in, 6 weeks in, because the landlord was, you know, absent, the roof was falling, the roaches were there, rats everywhere. And I never toured the building. It was my mistake, actually. I just, you know, took the trust of the pictures. And the landlord understood, you know, he has a lot of work on his building, and he let me leave early. But, you know, it's just like, you make a lot of mistakes in the beginning, and you learn from them. And then as time went on, we kept scaling the business, scaled in Detroit, then scaled more in Philly, more in Dallas, scaled in different cities, and scaled in Iowa, scaled in Austin, Texas did a lot. Dallas started scaling some more, then scaled to Pittsburgh, as you guys see now. So like, as you guys see, like the teams that I built out, the systems that I built out, you know, the progress that we made scaling all the way from, you know, 0 apartments all the way to now 350 apartments, it's insane the progress that I've made in such a short period of time. Because the one thing about me is that I don't quit, right? No matter how much, you know, bullshit gets thrown at me, I promise you guys, no matter what happens, I'll find a way around it and I'll solve the problem. Mental resilience is one of the most important things of an entrepreneur, especially in this business and hospitality. If you don't have a strong mindset, you're gonna fail, you're gonna wanna quit, and you're gonna go back to a 9 to 5. For the majority of people, that's fine, right? A lot of people aren't cut out for it. They're not cut out for entrepreneurship, especially in this business. They wanna just go back to that stable lifestyle. There's nothing wrong with it at all. It's just, I personally don't wanna do that. I wanna become a millionaire. I wanna make tens of millions of dollars a year. I want that freedom for my life, the freedom for my family that my dad wasn't able to supply me when, you know, he was working, because he came as an immigrant to Canada from Pakistan. So all he knew was 9 to 5 work, 9 to 5 work. And for him, that was an accomplishment, and I thank him for that every single day. But me, son of an immigrant, someone in a second generation, I need to do more than that. I'm able to do more than that. I have the brain power and the capacity to do more than that. I need to be making $10 million plus a year to live that lifestyle that I want to live, to live that penthouse lifestyle, to live that Lamborghini lifestyle, to live the 5-star vacation, 5-star restaurants. I need to make that much amount of money. So to do that, I have to scale my business to 500, 600, and just keep growing as much as I can. For me, it's not a unit number in mind, a dollar amount in mind. For me, it's more about the journey of being an entrepreneur, the journey of problem solving, the journey of what it takes to get to that next level, to get to that next endeavor, to get to that next problem that I have to solve. You know, as to say, more money, more problems, I'm okay with it. Bring more problems my way, because that means I'm making more money. The bigger the problem, the more money behind it. And 99% of the time, I can solve that problem, because that's what I'm good at. I went to school for engineering. I didn't go to school to learn how to be an engineer. I learned how to problem solve. And that's the most important thing I learned from university, is how to solve big, complex problems. And that's why I'm in Philadelphia right now. I just had a meeting yesterday with the new developer in Philadelphia. He's building an entire building, 70 apartments, wants to give me the entire thing. We pretty much closed the deal. It was an amazing negotiation, and we're gonna be starting that in February. And I'll show you guys exactly how that's gonna look like as time goes on. My team's actually, right now, they're furnishing 50 apartments all in downtown Dallas. So that's happening right now. So I'm telling you guys, like, the deals I'm doing now, it's all entire buildings, floors at a time, 40, 50 units. None of this 2, 3, 4, 5 unit stuff. It's a waste of my time. I want big apartments, you know, big new construction, the best locations possible. And that's what I'm gonna show you guys right now. We're in Center City. I was dreaming about furnishing apartments in Center City 3 years ago, A-class units. Now I'm actually doing it, right? So everything comes within time, right? When you first start off, you don't have to furnish, you know, the nicest apartments with the rooftop deck and the patios and the pools. You don't have to have that. When I first started, a lot of my units were in the hood. A lot of my units were in, you know, Class B areas. You know, the rents were $800, $1,000 a month. They were still cash flowing $600, $700 a month. There was cash flowing $800 a month, net profit, even in those Class B areas. And that's how I started. I built that Rolodex. I built that infrastructure. I built the teams. I built the list of landlords that people can call as references to see who I am. Business Insider picked me up just from that, right? Like, there's a lot of things you have to do to get to the top, right? The journey just doesn't happen overnight, right? I didn't become who I am right now overnight. The confidence that I have right now in me, in the business that I've grown to this point, it did not happen overnight. It happened stages. It happened periodically over time as I built the business to new heights and new endeavors. I have a full-time COO, I have city managers. Like my involvement in the day-to-day now is very minimal, maybe 5 hours a week. But in those 5 hours, they're very important 5 hours where I'm dealing with high-level situations or high-level problems or a high-level negotiation for these new 70 unit, 50 unit type deals. So that's the level where you want to get to eventually in your life. I have no idea what happens in my day-to-day. I have no idea what happens with the housekeeping or if someone breaks something. I have no clue. It has nothing to do with me. I have systems in place to not even reach me, to reach anyone who's at the certain level where they have to be to deal with that situation, deal with that problem. I just had a daughter 3 months ago, and I really enjoy spending that time with my daughter. I enjoy spending time with my wife. I enjoy traveling. I enjoy, doing a lot of fun things. My lease in Dallas ends in about, I'd say maybe 8 months left, maybe 6 months left, my penthouse. I'm paying $15,000 a month to live that penthouse lifestyle. But after I had my daughter, I realized the most important thing for me is family. So I'm probably gonna move back to Windsor or moving back to Michigan to live close to my family, to live close to my mom and dad, where I can see them have an interaction with my daughter. And of course, as you guys know, I wanna have more kids. And if God's willing, we'll see what happens. We'll see where life takes me. But every time I come to Philadelphia, I reflect on my life where I realize my wife and I started, in I think it was 500 square foot apartment we lived in for a year straight in South Philly off Snyder and Cantrell, South Philadelphia. We lived there for a solid year straight. And we lived and we were happy, right? Just because you have more money in your life doesn't make you more happy. But at the same time, it reduces a lot of the problems you have in life, especially if it's financially related, right? No one's saying, money is the key to happiness, but having money does eliminate all the money problems in your life. Then you can then focus on the other things in life that do bring you happiness, things you do want to do. By no means am I, smarter than the majority of people watching this. I'm just a risk taker and I'm willing to make shit happen, right? There's no situation where you're going to tell me, Hummus, I can't make it happen. That's bullshit. I'll make it happen. I'll make sure whatever problem it is, I'll solve it. So that's the type of person that I am. That's the type of person you have to be in this business if you want to succeed and get to where I am. You can't take no for an answer. You have to make shit happen. So trust me when I tell you, you and me, there's no major difference. The only difference is I'm not lazy and I'm willing to make shit happen. And you can do the exact same if you put your mind to it. So before we get out of here and I show you guys a new deal, just know one thing. All this didn't happen overnight. Everything has a struggle to it. I make it look so effortless and so easy because of what I built and the team behind me, the organization behind me, the systems and softwares in place, the automations and tools and the software I'm developing and the things that are in place to make it seem like that. So trust me, you can get to this level of automation, you can get to this level of offhands only if you have the right team, automations, and softwares and systems involved, and you know exactly what you're doing. So if you're ever doubting yourself, trust me, I was there. It might seem hectic, it might seem stressful, it might seem overwhelming. There's answers to everything, there's tools for everything, and most importantly, believe in yourself, because I promise you, nobody else will. My mom didn't, my parents didn't, and I'll tell you guys one thing very importantly, especially with your friends. Your friends will always want the best for you, but they'll never want you to do better than them. So you have to ignore what everyone around you is saying and just blow it out of water, because I promise you, when you're driving a Lambo, every single person around you is gonna ask you, Hamza, how can we do it? Hamza, how'd you do it? Hamza, what can we do to get there? And I'm telling you, I've experienced that in my life, and everyone's gonna experience it once you pass a certain threshold. So now we're gonna go to the building, show you guys the unit economics, and I really hope you enjoy this talk that I gave you. Because my goal at the end of this day is to provide you guys value and how you can actually take your business to the next level, make that $1 million a year, make that $1 million a month like I am now, and exceed in Airbnb. This is one of the 8 apartments that's going to be photographed today. This is an 8-unit deal, all 2-bedroom apartments, and I'll tell you why. In this area in Center City, 2 bedrooms specifically, there's not a huge supply of. So because I have 2 bedrooms, I want to sleep the most amount of people, sleep the most amount of heads, put the most amount of beds, and make the most amount of money. So on these 2 bedrooms with utilities, I think the rent I'm paying is about $3,000 a month, which seems pretty high. But what if I told you these apartments make on average anywhere from $5,000 to $6,000 a month, and in May almost to $7,000 to $8,000 a month. So on average, on the low end, each apartment should bring in $60,000 a year in total revenue. That's almost $500,000 in total revenue for the entire year just on these 8 A-class, amazing location apartments. Now I'm gonna show you the reason why I'm making that much money compared to my competition that also has 2-bedroom apartments, and how you can actually charge more and make more per month just with the amount of square footage that you have to work with. So this is bedroom number 1. Bedroom number 1, I always have to have at least 1 queen bed with, of course, your usual nightstand lamps. I'm now putting TVs in every single bedroom, and as you guys can see here, and your work desk and your work chair. Some of the units I have monitors, nice 4K LED monitors, but for this one I didn't, but the other ones I do. Now I'm gonna show you bedroom number 2. Now this is bedroom number 2. Now keep in mind, look at how spacious this entire bedroom is. Me putting 1 king bed is actually pointless. I want to sleep the most amount of people and have the most amount of beds. So that means I need to increase the number of beds in this bedroom, which I can easily do by putting 2 full-size beds. Instead of only sleeping 2 people, now this entire bedroom sleeps 4 people and has an additional bed. So now, just in those 2 bedrooms alone, we're at a total sleep count of 6 people. We have 3 beds and we can sleep 6 people. Now I'll show you how we can sleep even more. Now for this entire space that you guys see in the back of the apartment, a lot of it is dead space. In 2 of the units, I experimented and put pool tables, big giant $800 pool tables for people to play pool with. But for a few of the units, I want to test it and see what happens if I add an entire full bed there. Because I added a full bed, now this entire section, this entire space is completely cornered off for a separate person to sleep for additional 2 people. So now we have a total of 4 beds, sleeping a total of 8 people in this 2-bedroom apartment. And last but not least, the sofa bed. This sofa bed that I'm sitting on is a $800 IKEA Friday sofa bed, and it sleeps an additional 2 people. So if you add that up, we have a total of 1 queen bed in one room, we have 2 full beds in the other room, we have a nice full bed in the living room, and then we have the sofa bed. That is a total of 5 beds sleeping a total of 10 people. If you go and search and filter down to those exact specifications, there's only a handful of Airbnbs in the entire area. And the minimum, and I'm telling you the minimum I'm gonna be making, is at least $500,000 a year just on these 8 apartments. The total dollar amount that I spent to furnish each of these 2-bedroom units was almost $10,000. Think about it, there's a lot of beds, a lot more mattresses. Just the accent chair right there by itself is almost $1,000. I spent a lot of money on the painting. I spent a lot of money on all the TVs. There's a TV in almost every single bedroom. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into it, especially when trying to maximize occupancy. Your total overall cost also tends to increase as you want to sleep more people, which is fine because you're going to make that money back relatively quickly, and you're going to stand out compared to your competitors and charge more money and get more bookings. These last 4 months have been insane. I've done a little over $900,000 to $940,000 in revenue for May, June, July, and August. That's about $3.5 million I made just in these last 4 months of summer. And as you guys know, majority of my portfolio is all along the East Coast, meaning I have about 2 months of good profits left, then we're gonna enter slow season. October being the amazing month, especially in Austin, where it's gonna be Formula F1, ACL. You have 1 bedroom being booked out for $600 a night. October gets really crazy. Then after that, it's about 4 months of slow season. Then after that, it's high season and the cycle continues. As of right now, I have a total of 335 live active Airbnbs listed, ready, and taking bookings. Hopefully by the next 6 weeks, I should be at around 365, 370 because I have currently my team working in Dallas on 30, 40 more apartments that we're currently furnishing that actually took over from another big operator who recently filled in one of my buildings. After that's done, I'll be at the 375, 380 range. And hopefully before the end of the year, I'll be at 400, maybe even 450, depending on how many deals are thrown on my face. And then as you guys know, I was in Philadelphia just today for 1 day to close a deal that I'm working on for 70 apartments. We're a brand new construction building that's all A-class that's gonna be starting sometime in January, February. So the road to 500 is near. I know exactly what has to get done. I know exactly what I need to do. I hope you guys are along for the ride and watch how a real Airbnb entrepreneur scales an 8-figure business. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and make sure you click the link below in the description to book a call with myself or my team, and we'll show you exactly how you can scale your Airbnb business from $0, 0 units, all the way up to $1 million a month, fully automated, just like how I've done in the last 3 years. My Instagram is my name, Hamza Zafar. My Twitter is ZafarBNB. My TikTok is Hamza ZafarBNB. Follow me on all my socials, and I'll show you the daily, real life, behind the scenes of a real 8-figure Airbnb entrepreneur.